Welcome everybody to Running Denver TV. This is our 4th show, and it's a beautiful day. We went from kind of Seattle cool weather into scorching summer, but it is Denver, and that's what we love about it. It's been a busy time frame this past weekend. Tons of events taking place. Probably one of the busiest weekends we have of the entire year. We'll be going through review, preview. We have a fantastic interview today as well, and some interesting training tips. But first, we're in someplace very cool where two rivers meet. Have you figured out where we're at? Stay tuned and find out. Hi everybody, it's Running Denver TV. We gotta love downtown because you never know what you're gonna find. Look what I found today. These wonderful kids from the International School of Denver. They're doing a camp today. Out here having a bunch of fun. They've got Alice here who's leading them today. And what a great thing. This is a beautiful area. This is what's so much fun about coming in and participating and being part of downtown Denver because you never know what you're gonna see. And you guys are out here having a hike and doing fun things, right?
Yeah. Let's get running, Denver! Woo!
Hi everybody, welcome back to Running Denver TV. Bonnie Summers here on a beautiful day. Have you figured out where we're at? Well, it's where two rivers come together in downtown Denver. It's the Platte River and the Cherry Creek River, and better known as the Cherry Creek Bike Path. This is a wonderful recreation area. It's actually one of the most popular areas in Denver. Fantastic place to run through downtown. Plus, there's over 40 miles of trail that starts right here by REI and Confluence Park. You can take this all the way down to 4 Mile Historic Park, right through the Cherry Creek Shopping Center, out to Cherry Creek Reservoir. It's a wonderful area. We're really glad that you're joining us for today's show. Coming up next, we got Review Preview. 4th of July was a wonderful day, and no shortage of events taking place around the metro area, including the state of Colorado, as it is the second busiest running day in the entire United States. Starting things off at the 40th Annual Boogies Buddy Race on Saturday morning in downtown Aspen was a amazing event with Jack Stovic winning the event, but honorable mention goes out to Jonathan Perlman, who unfortunately was in the lead but took a wrong turn. The event was gracious enough to also award him a first place prize. Kylie Sinvo was the first place female and 3rd overall for that event. The Freedom Run up in Evergreen saw 50-year-old Masters runner Bob Weiner run in 16:35 for a 5K. Incredible finish, and Amy Armstrong was the female winner. And Denver's very own Liberty Run 4-mile race, Dominic Brimick was the overall male winner, and Kristen Jenkins was the female winner. We also, that event has a run-walk, and the ever-popular Francisco Pantoja took the male championship, and Jan Hill took the female championship. If you've never seen run-walk before, Francisco Pantoja is one of the top U.S. athletes in that area. To give you some idea how fast he went, race walking at 7:42 pace per mile, which actually beat about 90% of the field running the 4 mile by doing a race walk. Rounding out the 4th of July events for Running Denver was the Run for Independence up in Winter Park. Tabor Scholl, ever popular of the Scholl family, was the first female and also the first athlete overall in that 5-mile event, winning in a time of 29:23, and Steve Simmons was the first place male. That wraps up our review. Here at Running Denver Show, we like to preview some of the best upcoming events and some of our featured events. On July 28th, we have Destination Health that's taking place in City Park. Definitely check that one out. Great, wonderful event presented by the Center for African American Health. A lot of fun and festival stuff taking place. Additionally, is the Chase the Moon by our very own David Manthe, who has been a guest on our show and coach with Runner's Edge of the Rockies. Chase the Moon is a 12-hour endurance run that takes place from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. at Highlands Ranch Backcountry. Remember, we did a show from there, a very beautiful area. You can do a solo of that, or what's more popular is there's 3- and 5-person teams, so I certainly encourage you to do that. They have were voted nationally as the best race shirts, and they've got glow-in-the-dark medals for finishers this year, so it's pretty cool. It takes place again at 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and it's all under the full moon, so it's a great time. You can check that out by going to chasethemoon.com. You can find more information on our website about that event as well. And then really coming up in August, one of the most beautiful areas that you have to check out is the Mount Sniffles Marathon and Half Marathon. It's in Ouray, Colorado. If you've never been there, it truly is, as described, the Swiss Alps of America. It's a beautiful area, but don't be worried. You're not going to be running the marathon up and down hills. It's a pretty flat course, beautiful, and ironically, what you might think you're going to see as far as wildlife is something a little bit different. You might think you're going to see bears and mountain lions and goats and some deer, and yeah, you may run into a few of those, but believe it or not, there's a camel farm and a yak farm out there. So only in Colorado would you see these things in the mountains. So we hope you get to see us at Running Denver at some of these events. Welcome back to Running Denver TV. This week's training tip, we went through some very cool weather and now it's hot. One of the most important things you got to do is make sure your nutrition and you're hydrated. So if you're going to be going out and running, even if you're going to be going at a slow pace, make sure you take water. Also, you have to be careful not to do too much as well. So just listen to your body. Always drink before you're thirsty. It's real important to stay hydrated, especially in Colorado. Being at this thin air, we evaporate sweat a lot faster, so you'll actually need more water than you would at sea level. So hydration, hydration, hydration. That's this week's training tip. Welcome back to Running Denver. Next up, we've got a wonderful story from Kate Young. She's actually going to be doing the half Ironman in Lake Tahoe in September, and she's actually doing it to raise money for the Fetal Health Foundation. Her story is actually a lot like my own. I have identical twin daughters that were actually saved in utero during pregnancy, and that led me to actually direct and create the Fetal Health Foundation, which is an organization that deals with fetal syndromatic issues. Kate Young was actually helped by our foundation, and she's decided to give back. She's got 5-year-old boys that were saved, and she is totally in love with them and so grateful for not only what we've done, but the doctors and nurses and other people that came to aid and help out and get her boys where they are today. She's training for a half Ironman. She's not an elite athlete. She's a fantastic athlete, but she didn't come into the world being that way. She's doing a half Ironman to raise money and awareness. Check out her story.
I'm Kate Young, and I'm running the Lake Tahoe half Ironman for the Fetal Health Foundation. So when I was 20 weeks pregnant, I was diagnosed with twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome with my 2 boys, and we were told that they were going to die and that any attempt that we had to try to save them would only cause further brain damage and not be able to save them. And so, alone in the hospital, we were looking this up online and trying to figure out what we could do, if there were any other options, and we found the Fetal Health website that led us to several doctors all over the country that were able to actually save our kids. One was Dr. Julian D'Elia in Milwaukee, and there was others in Salt Lake City, and the doctors locally here in Denver were able to contact them. They were the experts in twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, and sort of walked us through on a regular basis and through phone calls and emails what to do. And after 8 weeks on bed rest, my kids were born, and they're 5 years old today and very healthy. So we're very grateful to Fetal Health for being there for us and being able to point us in the right direction and allowing us to have 2 very healthy boys today. When we first found out, actually, I was by myself. They had scheduled an ultrasound, and my husband was going to be there for the ultrasound, but they took me in several hours early, and I was alone, and unfortunately left me sort of in the room by myself. And I asked, how much longer do I have? Is it minutes? Is it weeks? And they said, we don't know. You need to make a decision what you want to do. So it was very difficult. It was very humbling and I felt very isolated. So it was very difficult to be going through this without any support. And so it was amazing to be able to go online, that the internet exists today, that you can go online and find somebody else who's been through it and who's gone through it and knows what to do and can be there to help. But it was actually really amazing because the people who answered the phone when we called these other doctors clearly knew, they were not receptionists. They knew exactly the questions to ask and exactly what we were going through and what data they needed to be able to help us. And so they were. It was just amazing to think that there were people out there who had faith that we could make it through this and that this wasn't such a traumatic story. So they were born actually 12 weeks early, and so they struggled for a long time with lung issues. They were on oxygen for 18 months, and we struggled even after that through several surgeries and ICU stays, collapsed lungs, and about 2 years ago we even moved from the Denver area to the DC area to try to get to lower altitude to try to help with that. And they're 5 now, and their lungs are bigger and stronger. We're back in Denver, and glad to say they're very healthy and been oxygen free and hospital free for about a year now, so it's great. We found that when we were going through all this, that it was amazing the support we received, not just from these doctors, but from everyone in our life. People were bringing meals, my coworkers were taking over my projects at work, my boss started a PTO donation program. I really felt like we got so much support from the community, and so many people were donating things. Every time our kids were in the hospital, we got toys donated. I remember one time my kids had been sick for a really long time, and we were in and out of the hospital, and someone handed me a packet of shampoo and toothpaste and toothbrushes that had all been donated, and I couldn't remember the last time I'd even taken a shower. And so we have been working, even the last 5 years, to try to be giving back and understanding of all of the other people that are still going and still struggling through these types of issues with their kids. So we try to collect toiletries, and we try to make meals, and now that we're sort of out of the water and I'm back and running and we're back living our life doing these sorts of things, I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to also give back to Fetal Health, who was there in the beginning and who was really there to help save us. I'd like to make people more aware of the Fetal Health Foundation. We participated in the run that they held every year. It's now the Great Candy Run, and it's a great event every fall, and we thought that this would be a great way for us to raise more awareness too, and to just get the word out about all these other fetal health syndromes. Through our journey, we've met a lot of people who have struggled with similar issues, both in the NICU and just in our interactions with other patients and families at the hospitals, and just making people more aware that this exists and that help is out there if they need it. So we're trying to raise funds. My goal is to raise $5,000 and also to finish a half Ironman. I'm turning 40 next year, so I hope to do a full, but start off small, I guess, huh? So I've run marathons before, and I've run half marathons. In fact, my first race ever was a marathon, and I have to say I was pretty miserable. I was pretty out of shape and didn't know what I was doing, but swore I'd never run again. But it's been a lot of fun, and I think it's always a challenge to do something that you think is impossible and to be able to overcome it. And so to me, an Ironman seems pretty impossible, but for now I think a half Ironman will be a good challenge this year, and just try to focus. And when you're out there running and it's hot and you don't think you can finish, I think it's similar. Nobody can understand what you're going through in that moment except for you, and you're kind of by yourself and you need to push through. And I think it's very similar to the way I felt when I was going through that with the kids. Even my husband and I dealt with it differently, and we're experiencing it differently, and it's a very isolating feeling, and you just have to sort of push through. My husband and my kids are very supportive of what I do, which is really fun, and my kids are in swimming lessons right now and are just learning to swim. So they just actually this morning were able to swim all the way across the pool, and they're very excited about it, and they want to come out and swim laps with me and want to be my coach for the half Ironman. So I think that's pretty cool that they're so excited and supportive.
Hope you've really enjoyed our show today. What a fantastic day it's been. We're out here at Confluence Park at the start of the Cherry Creek bike path. Amazing events that took place this past weekend, plus some awesome events that are going to be coming up next month. And of course, what a great story from Kate. We hope you really enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time on Running Denver.